Well, the Los Angeles Dodgers are not World Series champions yet. We go to a game five, how the bullpen game didn't work, and why the bats need to wake up. Let's get locked on Dodgers.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, Dodger fans. Welcome to Locked On Dodgers. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 local sports daily podcast network. Locked On, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. This is a daily podcast covering the Los Angeles Dodgers, bringing you the smart fans' perspective on our boys in blue. You can find us wherever you find podcasts and on YouTube. All you got to do is search for Locked On Dodgers, and you can become an everydayer and make it easy on yourself by subscribing and getting notified when our episodes are ready or when we're going live like we are here on Wednesday night. If this is your first time listening or watching, welcome. I'm Vince Samperio. That's Jeff Snyder, and we've been doing this podcast here for 6 seasons now. We've been Dodger fans our whole lives. We've been covering the team for 10 years in a few different ways, and, we have experienced a lot of Dodger baseball games, and as we get into this episode, we know that the Dodger losses are not the best or our favorite episodes to record, but it's a little bit different when you have a 3-1 lead still in the World Series, and you don't necessarily have to press the panic button yet.
Yeah, absolutely. The Dodgers came into this game with a game plan, and the game plan was, let's see if the offense can win this game for us. And when the offense didn't win the game for them, they stuck to the game plan of, all right, let's use our bad pitchers. And that, to that extent, it worked as planned. Obviously, ideal would have been if the offense had won the game for him and, then kind of forced Dave Roberts' hand to go to his high leverage relievers. But the fact that, once Daniel Hudson didn't have it, gave up the grand slam, and then the offense wasn't really able to put up much of a fight after that, it basically became a case where, all right, this is where we see Brent Honeywell. This is why he's on the roster. Not to pitch well, but to eat innings. He and Landon Knack pitched the last, 5 innings of the game. The Dodgers made it through. I'd say Daniel Hudson is the only guy who pitched today who has even a chance of pitching the rest of the series, unless there's a blowout one way or the other. This was very much a low leverage game. And, the luxury you have when you're up 3 games to none to be able to reset your bullpen, knowing we need to win one of the next 4 games. Obviously, you don't want it to go to game 7, but this game increases their chances of winning game 5 or 6, even though it came at the cost of losing game 4.
Yeah, and realistically, if you named off Ben Kasparius, Daniel Hudson, Landon Knack, and Brent Honeywell, you would think that one of the other 3 not named Daniel Hudson might have been the ones that struggled. And Honeywell did struggle, but it was not, kind of a lose-lose situation for him. Like Hudson gives up the grand slam, Knack goes 4 innings, gives up just the 1 run. And, I feel like I saw Landon Knack's name a lot more than I should have in the sense of, and it wasn't praised. Like he did his job. Daniel Hudson's the one that did this. If you have an issue with the game, the way Roberts managed the game, like it wasn't Landon Knack going 4 innings. It was Daniel Hudson, one not being good on his own terms, and then Roberts having to kind of stick with them there. And it was, it's just annoying. And it reminds you of, games 2 and 5 of the last series, where more so game 2 than game 5, where a grand slam get the Dodgers in. Last time it was Landon Knack. This time it wasn't. And the Dodgers couldn't really recover offensively. And that's kind of where it sits here. They got it down to 5-4, gets up to 6-4. That's still a winnable game, but that's, you ran out of juice with Knack. You had to go to Honeywell in the 9th. And a lot happened that inning, especially at the start of that inning, that maybe, Anthony Volpe, did he foul it off? They only really showed one replay that I saw on the Fox broadcast, and it couldn't really tell. It didn't look like he did. If Gavin Lux is able to tag them a little bit in a different spot or hold the glove a little tighter, that doesn't happen. And maybe that inning goes and the Dodgers, maybe have a chance in the bottom of the 9th. But the game went how we thought, just maybe not the way we thought it was going to go specifically.
Yeah, the fact is a bullpen game with knowing that the Dodgers were going to try to reset their high leverage relievers. It was a game they were likely. It was kind of a heat check game. All right, are we so much better than the Yankees that we can even beat them with a bullpen game? And in this case, the answer was no, because this wasn't a bullpen game like we saw against the Padres, where it was 8 guys to get through 9 innings and it was all your best relievers. This was the exact opposite of that. I saw a tweet from some guy who's pops. He has a lot of followers. I don't know what he is, but he said a bullpen game was a bad choice for the Dodgers. Like, choice? Like, the 3 options they had to start this game all pitched in this game. You know, don't call it a bullpen game. Call it a Ben Casparius start if you want. Either way, the fact is, this is the lot the Dodgers have been dealt. They have 3 starters who they trust. And so far, they've been very successful this postseason. And like you mentioned, game 2 against the Mets, what happened in game 3? The offense showed up, the Dodgers won the game. Game 5 against the Mets, what happened in game 6? The offense showed up, the Dodgers won the game. Like, yeah, they do face Garrett Cole in game 5. It's going to be an uphill battle. They've already won one Garrett Cole start this series. You know, maybe they do it again. Maybe it does go home for game 6. The Dodgers are going to win this series. It's the fact that they didn't win in game 4. Yes, I would much rather be doing an episode without you right now, Vince, because you are in the locker room getting sprayed with champagne, and I am hyperventilating because my favorite team just won the World Series. That'll happen tomorrow or Friday or whenever. It's going to happen. And this is just one of those games where I don't know, like I wanted them to win. But this does, I think it gives them a very good chance to be in good position to win one of the next 2 games.
Yeah, and you know I see the arguments and you know everything else about we're you're getting the Yankees into a rhythm and blah blah and all this other stuff. Like, they had one swing that those first few innings that really didn't, like, Daniel Hudson loaded the bases almost on his own, and then Volpe hit one that went over the wall. It wasn't like the Yankees were hitting and got
after the grand slam. They had 5 runs on 3 hits at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And the last inning, it looked like Brent Honeywell. Maybe there was a joke out there about him throwing BP like he did to Mookie, and maybe that is the thing. But yeah, it sucks that there wasn't a 4th starter. You think, or it sucks that they didn't trust someone like Knack to maybe start the game. Maybe things go a little bit different. Maybe the offense, the offense did get out ahead. But I will say, Yankees, even when the Dodgers went up in this game, Yankee Stadium was a lot different than it was last night, and maybe it was a carefree attitude, and they were just more into it. But they did a good job, and then obviously they got rewarded for it. But it sucks to not get the sweep. I really felt that the offense was gonna push them over the top today, and they haven't. And we're definitely gonna talk about the offense a little bit later because they haven't been that good in this series overall. But they have come up in the spots that they needed to. Well, and Freddie Freeman has been absolutely on fire. So. But yeah, it sucks not to get the sweep. I really thought it was going to happen. And, you can feel the strings in the back of your brain starting to turn about, getting into a spiraling effect if you want to. But I'm not quite there yet.
I'm not even close. I am no less confident that the Dodgers are going to win the World Series than I was last night when we were talking about them going up 3-0.
Yeah. So the game, there was something that happened early in the game that was one of the craziest things I've ever seen on a baseball field. So we'll talk about it. Make sure to keep it locked on Dodgers. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. It's available in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. And you can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. It's as simple as finding a player, finding a stat projection, and putting more or less. You do 2 of those together. That's called a lineup. Boom, you can put $5, $10, $15, however much you want on that. And if they both happen, you get some. You can go all the way up to 6 players. You can build up, those multipliers on the demons and the goblins in sense of something that's more likely to happen and less likely to happen. There's a lot of different ways you can build out your lineups, but Prize Picks is a fun way to get in on the daily fantasy sports action. I am a daily user of Price Picks, and it's a lot of fun because it keeps you active in other sports if you're not necessarily really caring too much about other sports. So make sure to go download the Price Picks app today. And if you use the code Locked On MLB, you'll get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. So all you got to do is pick, Freddie Freeman to do something, and you pick Jack Flaherty to do something, and boom, that's a lineup. You put $5, you get $50 instantly when you use the code Locked On MLB after you download the Price Picks app today. Price Picks, run your game. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers one of the listens of your day. Might be your last listen of the day, as it is late on Wednesday night. It might be your first listen if you waited till the morning to put this on, or it might be your second listen of the day if you're listening in the middle of the day. Whatever it is, we appreciate you for listening. And remember, you can go to YouTube and check out Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles, 24/7 streaming channels from the Locked On Podcast Network, bringing you the biggest news and stories from the sports world and the LA sports world. You can check out the Locked On Dodgers postcast with host Pete Fox, available live after the Dodger games on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. All right, Jeff. So something happened in the first inning. And in the moment, as I'm kind of doing my job at the game, I'm roaming around, finding different angles. Sometimes the angles have good angles of the batter, not necessarily down the lines. And that's kind of what happened in that first inning. Then I got a bunch of texts from people about like, oh man, trash fans and Yankee fans suck and all this other stuff. And I'm like, wait, what did I miss? Because Yankee Stadium doesn't have TVs placed everywhere like some stadiums do. So I had to go back and watch. Mookie Betts goes to make the catch in right field, goes up against the wall, makes the catch. And then a Yankee fan, instead of going for the ball, went for Mookie Betts' glove and was literally trying to wrestle it out of his glove. And then his other friend grabbed Mookie Betts' other wrist, his off wrist, his right wrist, in order to prevent him from trying to pull his friend off of his glove. The ball came out. It was fan interference. It didn't matter anyways. But yeah, I don't know. That was one of the most bizarre sequences I've ever seen in a baseball game before. And I would have, the guys got kicked out. I'm sure there's maybe some type of ban coming, but I gotta imagine that's an MLB lifetime ban. That was insane.
Yeah, it really was. It was ridiculous. It was awful. And I'm just talking about the way this dude looks. I'm popping this picture up here on the screen. I'm just uploading right now. You look at this dude's face, it's bad enough that dude just made a fool of himself on TV, but to do it looking like that, and I'm a guy, I put this face on YouTube 5 days a week. I know I'm no beauty queen. I don't look like friggin' that guy. And you look at all that I read a tweet from Rob Reinhart, who works for the New York World Herald. He said, I just asked Yankee security, and the fan has been removed here at Yankee Stadium. He was also cuffed on his way out by police and shouted racial slurs at several officers. So this is a classy dude all around. You think how much he must have paid for those tickets to sit in the front row. I know it's not like right behind the plate, but I mean, this wasn't a cheap series. So paid a lot of money for those tickets, got kicked out and arrested in the first inning. You can't even blame being drunk in the first inning. It's one thing if it's the eighth inning and, been drinking the whole game. I mean, it's the first inning and you just missed a great game. You're going to, hey, you were at game 4. Did you see Volpe's grand slam? No, I got kicked out in the first inning. I got ejected. I got arrested. And then just to top it off, I yelled racial slurs at the cops who were arresting me. And I know this doesn't reflect on all Yankee fans. I don't like people to lump all Dodger fans together with the idiot Dodger fans who do stupid things sometimes. So I'm not going to say Yankee fans. I'm going to say this dude is a piece of human garbage. And yeah, luckily it should be easy to ban him from all stadiums because he's got that face. Everybody knows what that dude looks like. He's just walking, oh no, it's that guy. Let's not let him in. He tried to, that's assault. I think Mookie should press charges. It could have very easily damaged Mookie's wrist the way they were I don't even understand what thought process goes through someone's mind to act like that.
That's exactly what I was about to say. What in your brain, was going on?
Maybe the problem is we're assuming the dude has a brain, a functioning brain. He might just have an IQ of 17.
Yeah, but it's still like it's the fact that Mookie caught it too. Like, bro, you missed the ball on the way down, and then you decide to grab the glove. And like, you could have just hit the ball while it was in the air, and it would have been fine because it was
Yeah.
in that side of the field.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. Like, do better at your job. It's in his glove. You've lost this battle.
Yeah. So yeah, that was definitely weird. But I will say, yeah, not to lump in. We know there's been some bad things in terms of Yankee fans happening in the last few days, but they're definitely not all like that. So, all right, let's move to back on the field or in the field of play, I should say, and talk about the Dodger offense a little bit because the 3-0 lead in the series is obscuring something that we haven't talked about, which is the offense. Other than Freddie Freeman, hasn't been good. Freddie Freeman's driven in half the runs. He has obviously the 4 homers. He's been really, the big reason why the Dodgers are up 3-0. And besides him, I think at the end of the game, maybe 196 or something around there was the combined average of everybody else. And, runners in scoring position, the Dodgers and Yankees had very similar numbers before game 4 with runners in scoring position, which were not good. The Dodgers had the similar batting average. There were, disparity in batting average was like 30 points or so, which is not too big of a difference when you're considering that the Dodgers are up 3-0. And then the big difference was the slug, which was the extra base hits. And Freddie Freeman had, 4 of those at least with the triple and the 3 homers heading into game 4. So, yeah, Jeff, are we concerned about the offense or think they're due to break out? Or are we just, hey, this is how a series goes sometimes?
Yeah, I don't really believe in due to break out. I do think that they are better than they've been. And so maybe that means the same thing. Maybe it's semantics and that means they are due. I think the fact is they scored 4 runs tonight. 4 runs did win games 2 and 3 and would have won game 1. The pitching is the reason the Dodgers were up 3-0 to none. The pitching of Freddie Freeman. And I guess I think my main opinion is the Dodgers offense doesn't need to break out. They just need to have one of these next 3 games be another game where the pitching holds the Yankees to less than 4 runs. That's I do expect the offense. I don't know if Garrett Cole is who you break out against, but you know what? The Dodgers have had big games off pitchers as good as Garrett Cole in the past. There's no reason it can't be against Garrett Cole. I think it's more likely that the Dodgers score 2 runs off Garrett Cole and get his pitch count up so he comes out in the 6th inning, and then the Yankees overworked bullpen comes in and gives up the next 2 or 3 runs. But if Jack Flaherty and the rested high leverage Dodgers relievers do their job, 4 or 5 runs should win the game. There's no reason to think they can't win this game, and there's definitely no reason to think they can't win, even if the offense just keeps doing what it's doing. But yeah, I think Shohei Ohtani, with another day removed from the shoulder injury, maybe a little bit. Dave Roberts specifically addressed in his post-game press conference Shohei Ohtani chasing bad pitches, and that's something that it's not as easy as just saying, "Hey, stop chasing bad pitches." But I do think we've seen Ohtani break out of that tendency a few times this year, where he gets chasey and then he stops chasing. That would change things a lot. Just getting him on base, because there's been a couple times he's swung a ball for, a couple times that he's taken himself out of at bats with chasing bad pitches. Get him on base more often, whether by hits or by walks. That helps the team. Everybody, like you said, everybody except for Freddie Freeman basically is underperforming a little bit right now. And it's hard to picture that continuing for 3 more games. Like I said, Garrett Cole might not be who they break out against, but one of these next 3 games, if it goes, it's not going to go 3 more games, but the Dodgers offense will break out unless they're not given enough time because the pitching wins the series for him before that.
Yeah. It's tough because this game was uncharacteristic in the sense of they struck out a lot after Luis Hill came out, and in that middle to end part of the game, the Dodgers struck out a lot, and they were facing the Yankees' some of the best leverage relievers in Clay Holmes and Luke Weaver, but they're not guys that have never been beaten before, and they're not necessarily the guys that you would be, oh man, like this is what happens. I think the worst part about the last inning for sure was that it got out of hand that Luke Weaver did. Luke Weaver was going to pitch the top of the ninth until the Yankees broke out, and then they were able to use Tim Mesa. Weaver has thrown the last 2 days. One day was 6 pitches. I think last night was 21 pitches. So it hasn't been a lot of pitches, but still 3 days in a row for your best reliever. Probably not the situation you want to be in. Clay Holmes has thrown the last 2 days. So again, not the best position you want to be in, even though he hasn't thrown a lot, but he's had to throw. Tommy Kahnle pitched game 3, not game 4, but will probably pitch game 5. He throws all changeup, so there's at least a better chance for you to kind of break out there. So yeah, it'll come down to, obviously the pitching side is what's going to win it for the Dodgers if it happens, but it would be nice if the offense just said, you know what, we'll take it from here. We'll put up 6 to 8 runs, and we'll take the trophy back home on our airplane.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't like stressful games, and in a way, I was kind of glad that if the Dodgers are going to lose this game tonight, I'm glad they did it the way they did. And I think Dave Roberts is too. He was asked after the game, did this play out? Other than the loss, did it once? Knowing you lost, did it play out pretty well? And he said, yeah, we didn't have to use any of our high leverage arms. He didn't say that. He's not going to diminish the guys they did use, but he said we've got 6 or 7 guys who are really well rested for tomorrow. And just happens to be the top 6 guys on their depth chart too. And so good position to be in for them. And so in a way, yeah, I don't know. About as good as a loss could be, I guess.
Yeah, we'll talk about the high leverage arms. We'll talk about starting pitcher Jack Flaherty. Make sure to keep it locked on Dodgers. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time MLB. Postseason is almost over, but if you are in New York or if you're heading to New York, you can get your tickets for Game 5 with Game Time, because Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, and you can get tickets faster and easier. And, you can watch those prices go down all the way up until first pitch. And they got killer last-minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So go download the app, check it out. They got, like I said, flash deals, zone deals, all in pricing, so you don't have to worry about those fees. Lowest price guarantee. You find tickets in the same section in a row, you'll get 110% of the difference from Game Time. And they got the Game Time ticket coverage, which means your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. There's no reason not to download the Game Time app. And right now, use the code LOCKEDONMLB, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. I want to thank you for being an everydayer if you are one. If you're not one, you can become an everydayer by listening or watching every day, which should be a lot more fun here in the next week or so to be one of those people that listens or watches every day and into the off season. But obviously first we have Game 5 coming up, and Jack Flaherty is the starting pitcher for the Dodgers. We talk a lot about, Garrett Cole and the Dodger offense, and, people are concerned about the Dodger offense facing Garrett Cole. Well, the other part is the Yankees are going to have to face Jack Flaherty and the Dodgers' best relievers. So, it's not a matter of everything needs to go right for the Dodgers. You need one of the things to go right, really right for the Dodgers. And if the pitching is really right, you don't have to worry about the hitting. If the hitting is really right, the pitching, don't have to worry about it. But yeah, Jeff, I know, Flaherty's had 2 really good games, one mid-game and one really bad game. If you look back at the last series, he had one really good game to start the series in Game 1 like he did in this game. And you can, think, okay, Jack Flaherty in New York going against someone in Game 5 could be scary. If you take him being under the weather at face value, are you concerned at all about Jack Flaherty?
I'm not. I guess my only minor concern would be something we haven't really talked about much here, which is that we found out after Game 1 that he did tweak his hamstring a little bit on the pitch before Stanton homered off him in Game 1. And I actually, when I was watching the game, that pitch before, it was that really high fastball, tried to do a setup pitch. And I was worried he had hurt himself because it was only 88 miles an hour. And when you miss your spot that bad and it's only 88, I was like, crap, did he hurt himself? And then the next pitch, he, didn't throw the curve right where he wanted it, gave up the home run, threw one more pitch to the next batter, and then they pulled him out. They did say they're not concerned about it, and we haven't really heard anything else about it since then. So I assume that won't be an issue. That would be my only concern, because I really do believe, based on what we saw in game one, his first start against the Mets and his first start against the Yankees, it seems to me like the reason he was bad in his second start against the Mets is because he was sick. And so I'm not overly concerned about that. I don't expect him to throw a shutout, but I expect him to keep the Dodgers in the game for sure. Let the Dodgers bullpen advantage come through like it did in game one. And hopefully, like you said, if the offense can show up, I think Jack Flaherty is going to do his job.
Yeah. In the event that things do get dicey there, are you fine with the day off tomorrow with them, basically building toward this, of the Dodgers treating this as almost like a reverse elimination game? And, if Flaherty first sign of trouble, you go to your bullpen and figure it out from there.
Something along those lines. I don't know about first sign of trouble. And again, that's why, you'd hope the offense can jump out, give them a lead a little bit. Even if you look at tonight's game with Daniel Hudson, the fact is he should have gotten out of that inning. He could have gotten out of that inning. He had just gotten a pop-up. He had he just made a really bad pitch on the first pitch, and Volpe was ready to hit it. There's plenty of alternate universes where he could have gotten out of that. And so he didn't, obviously, but you can't, most of the time that doesn't happen. Guys don't jump on every mistake and hit them over the wall. And so I'm not a big fan of first sign of trouble, especially if that's early. But yeah, I think if Jack Flaherty gives you 4 strong innings and then gets into trouble in the 5th, boom, yeah, get him out of there. I don't see them pulling him in the 2nd inning at a first sign of trouble. At 2nd inning, if he's giving up a bunch of runs, sure. But, there's some middle ground there, because you don't want to get a big deficit and you do have guys rested. But the fact is, you really have 5 or 6 guys who you really trust who are rested. And so even that isn't going to get you through 8 innings. But if you need them for 5 innings, even 6 innings, yeah, absolutely. So I think they'll have a quick trigger. And I think they won't worry too much about the bullpen usage of the guys but they will try to get through the game with those 5 or 6 guys rather than going back to like Daniel Hudson again.
Yeah, it's, with Flaherty, you have the trust in him, but his issues with the Dodgers specifically has been giving up home runs, which in, a little bit more likely at Yankee Stadium, just, some fly balls become home runs there. I think the big thing is just a lot of the Yankees runs have been because of walks, or I guess more so this game. I can't say for the whole series, but this game, Daniel Hudson doesn't walk all those guys. They don't get on base. They probably don't hit. They've shown that they're not all there hitting right now, and I think that's the best part. But giving them free passes, giving them free bases, giving them chances. I would like Flaherty to just go out there and attack, and not worry about having to. If you get hit, you get hit. You get beat, you get beat. But I would much rather prefer it be because of the Yankees and not because of the Dodgers.
Yeah, absolutely. And even, Verdugo's 2-run homer in game 3, it was a 2-run homer because somebody walked ahead of him. And, and I was telling whoever was pitching, who was pitching? I can't remember who pitched. Kopech, yeah. I'm like, don't walk him. I'd rather give up a solo home run than walk these. I'd rather you give up back-to-back homers than a walk and a homer, because you're up by 4 runs. Just attack these dudes. And so that's what I'm going to be looking for. My buddy Frank here makes a good point in here. Every Dodger pitcher started and finished the innings they pitched tonight. The point that Frank's making, Frank is a former pitcher. And the point is, Dave Roberts managed this game differently than he's going to manage the rest of the series. This was a different game. It was, Nomar said on the postgame show, the benefit of being up 3-0 is you can afford to have a butt kicking like this. You can pitch this. And, the reporters asked Roberts after the game, did you think about going and getting Daniel Hudson? And Roberts like, no, it's the 3rd inning. I'm not going to, who am I going to bring in? I'm not going to go to my high leverage guys in the third inning. And he even pointed out, like, yeah, he got the pop up. He should have gotten out of that inning, and that's on Hudson for sure, but tomorrow's game is different because he does have the rested relievers. And so, yeah, if, like we saw in game 3, if somebody gets to a point where, okay, now it's the part of the lineup where I trust Alex Vesia more, I don't care what the situation is, I'm going to get Alex Vesia. That's how he's going to manage game 5. And then hopefully that's the last game. But if there's a game 6, that's how he'll manage game 6. And if there's a game 7, it's how he'll manage game 7, because this was the game. Not that they tried to lose. They didn't punt this game. They didn't go into this saying, okay, let's lose this and win game 5. But they absolutely had the strategy of, let's set ourselves up for the rest of the series, however long that is. And you could see that in the way they made pitching decisions and everything.
Yeah. So, it's frustrating to be a little bit frustrated and annoyed when the Dodgers are up 3-1. Like, if they had gone, Dodgers won the first 2, lost game 3, won game 4, we'd feel a lot different. If the Dodgers, have split in LA and won these next 2, like, we'd feel a lot different. But the fact, it's always, you depend how you feel. Some people might just feel super confident still. And I'm definitely in the boat of confidence for sure. I don't think the Dodgers, can lose 3 games in a row, but you can, I'm sure, Locked On Yankees or any other Yankee fans right now are finding the way to get to game 7, and then, anything can happen in the game 7. But, there's one thing the Dodgers can do, and that's not let that happen. And it starts, Wednesday night in New York. So hopefully that's how the way it goes.
Absolutely. Dodgers in 5, like I've always said, it's starting tonight after this game.
All right, Jeff, you had any parting thoughts beyond Dodgers in 5?
No, I hope to not talk to you tomorrow, because I hope I'm doing the episode solo, because you are getting champagne poured on your nice shoes.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do that and keep it going. And then parade on Friday, and all be right in the world for the Dodgers. So, all right, that's gonna do it for today's episode. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day, or your last listen, or any listen of your day. Make sure to check us out wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. You come in every day, or by listening or watching every day. You can go beyond the podcast, come to Locked On Dodgers Insider at joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. Get text directly from us with any Dodger information that you need. If you're not someone that can be online all day, you can check out Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles, 2 24/7 streaming channels from the Locked On Podcast Network, bringing the biggest news and stories from the sports world and the LA sports world. You can check out the Locked On Dodgers postcast with host Pete Fox, available on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel, live after Dodger games. You can check us out on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Locked On Dodgers. Jeff is on Twitter at Snydog. I'm at Vincent91. You can DM us in any questions or comments. You can also send those via email, lockedondodgers@gmail.com, or via voicemail text at 323-863-5625. We're here every weekday morning, and we hope you'll be here with us. When you get in your car, if you're at home, here's Smart Advice by Podcast, Locked On Dodgers. And remember, you don't have to agree. You just have to listen. Have a good one.
I will talk to you tomorrow.